Hi, I'm James. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to get started with the audio, video player and recorder plugin from Zeroqode. Just before we jump into it, if you need any help building your app or product, feel free to reach out to our team by visiting our website at zeroqode.com. We're the largest maker of plugins for Bubble, as well as the top gold tier Bubble agency. We have almost 10 years of experience and can help you build any web, mobile, or AI product, or even help automate your business. While you're there, make sure you check out zeroqode.com/plugins. This is the full list of all the plugins we make, and there's over 800 of them, probably even more by the time you watch this. There's something there to cover pretty much everything your app could possibly need to do. For example, there's Stripe Marketplace Express for accepting payments within your app, Mapbox Maps for super customizable advanced maps functionality, AWS File Uploader, which is great for saving on Bubble hosting costs, and so many more. So make sure you check all that out as well. All right, let's start with an overview of the plugin. So this can be as simple or as complex as you need for your app. This can be right from just a simple video player within your app, all the way through to a full-featured video platform with playlists and auto-playing and picture-in-picture and floating video and upload functionality from a user's point of view. You can also then integrate with libraries like Wistia and Mux if you're wanting further video support and library support for your video database. So from this page, let's click the live demo button and see some examples of what this can do. So this is a pre-built Bubble app from Zeroqode that has the plugin already installed, and we can explore all the features from the user's point of view. This is really handy to make sure it does what we wanted to do before having to install. So we can see a video player here. We can see custom controls down here as well, and a whole bunch more settings that we can enable within the plugin. We've got floating video. We can see all the settings that we can enable here with rewinding and zooming and rotating and all that sort of thing. So you see a huge amount of control that can happen with this player. We get all the state management here. We can see exactly what's happening and when it's happening and trigger actions based on that. We can turn on floating while scrolling and apply certain settings to the floating video. We can make it bigger or in the top left instead of the right. We have background videos here. You can see some playlist demonstrations, pulled from the database as well as an upload functionality integrating to Mux. You got live streaming here as well, with a bunch of controls around quality control, the Wistia integration, the visualizer for audio player, how it works with repeating groups, and then recorders for both audio and video. So jump in here, have a play around with this, and check to see all the features that can be done in terms of more advanced implementations with this plugin. Related to that, on the plugin page here, there's also a demo editor button. Now this will open up the exact same app that we just saw, but from the Bubble editor point of view. So we can go in and kind of reverse engineer everything and see how this is set up and see all the parameters and properties we can control, right down to the workflows that are attached to everything on this page. So we can pull it apart a bit and see, does this work for what we need it to do? And how is this set up? And how can I replicate what I'm seeing in the demo? Also on this page is the documentation link. Now I usually keep this open in a separate tab, but while I'm building and setting up the plugin, this shows everything you would need to fully set this up, including all the parameters that need to be configured beforehand. You've got API calls here, and then we have workflow examples of general workflows to get started with the video player, with the audio player, the visualizer, with the recorder. Examples of how it's set up, property panels, workflows, everything we need here. The last thing I want to mention on this plugin overview page is our intercom chat widget in the bottom right here. If you have any questions at all about this plugin before installing, while installing, troubleshooting, send us a message here. We would love to help out and get you up and running. All right, let's jump into the Bubble editor and see how to set this up. The first thing we need to do is get this plugin into our app. So on the left-hand side here, click on the Plugins tab. And then in the top right, click Add Plugins, and we're going to search for Audio Video Player. And here's the one, Audio Video Player and Recorder by Zeroqode. Now you've got two options for installing this plugin. There's a once-off payment, or there's a monthly subscription. Now the monthly subscription is actually the most risk-free way to try this out, as you're charged on a pro-rata basis. You're only charged for the days that you have the plugin active in your app. So if you install the plugin, test it out for a day, and realize it's not quite right for your use case, and then remove it, you would be charged, in this case, $5 divided by 30 days in the month. So really risk-free, great way to try this out without spending a lot and before committing perhaps then to a larger purchase. But whichever way you go, install this plugin and let's jump into the editor. Now that we have the plugin installed, if we search here in our assets panel for audio video player, we have a new element here. Here we go, audio video player. I'll just drag that straight onto our canvas. I will also change the layout to be columns so that things make a bit more sense here. And let's take a look at what we're working with. So clicking the element, we have a bunch of things we can work with. So we have the video source, we have the options for the playback speed, the default playback speed, whether it's looping, the volume. So these are kind of our core video player options. As you scroll down, we can see more specific settings. Do we enable zoom? Do we disable right click? Is there an inactivity timeout? Is there autoplay? And we can keep going down as well and see background settings, how subtitles are integrated with this. Do we specify a specific thumbnail for this particular video? You can integrate advertising as well, using third-party integrations. You've got playlist options, and then a bunch of styling options for the control bar here to make that really feel bespoke to your app. More control bar settings, all the Mux integration settings. There's a lot here you can set up. Dynamic thumbnails is download a feature. What hotkeys do we have set up? Full screen. So, like I said, this can be a very simple and straightforward video player, or this can be a very, very customized and powerful and complex video platform. So have a look through each of these, and you'll see under each one of these, we have a show documentation button. Now, this will give you all the information about what this function does, basically linking through to the documentation link that we just looked at. So having that link open in a separate tab and looking at the information under each button will give you all the information you need for configuring this just the way you want it set up. So what we're going to do for this demo, we'll look at the steps you need to get this up and running. More advanced use cases we'll leave for the documentation and for the demo app. But just to get the ball rolling with this plugin, we're going to have a video player. We're going to set up some custom buttons for playing, pausing, rewinding, picture-in-picture and floating video. And then we'll look at how to set up and configure the video recorder as well. So let's start with the video player. For the source, now this can be a dynamic link to your database. This can be a YouTube link, a Vimeo link. What I'm actually going to do, though, is paste the same link as the demo video that we just saw in the demo app, just to keep things nice and simple. I'll keep all of these the same for now, and let's just press preview and see what we have with just that changed. Great, we have a video player. Let's hit play. We can see we have our control bar with all the settings that we can configure and change if we want to, and the video is playing nicely. Great. So let's take a look at some workflows and some ways that we can make this more our own. We may not want to use this control bar here. We might want our own styled buttons, our own app to control the video. So let's see how that can be handled. Let's bring a button onto the page and let's put the label as play. Nice and simple. And let's add a workflow to this button. When the button play is clicked, play a audio video player. Now, while we're here, let's have a look at everything we have to control. So we've got play and pause and stop. We can change the speed, rewind, set volume, request picture-in-picture and close picture-in-picture, mute and unmute. There, you can see how many actions there are linked to this plugin. So no matter what you're wanting to do with video, there should be something here that you can do. But for us, we want to play a audio video player. That's kind of one half of the equation. Let's put a second button and say pause. Always good to be able to pause the video that we've started. While we're here, I'm just going to group these in a row so that they're a bit more organized. And let's put some spacing between them. Let's say 16 pixels. Okay. So back to the workflow. I actually didn't mention this. We need to specify which element that we are playing in this action. Now, in our case, it's fine. We only have one video player on the page, but if you have multiple, you want to be specifying here which one this applies to. Same thing for the pause button. We'll add a workflow, and we will say pause. Pause a audio video player. Again, we want to pause the element that we are the only audio video player on our page. All right, let's preview this now. Let's hit play. Great, video is playing. And let's hit pause, and it pauses. Plays again. Great. Pauses again. Love this. Nice and simple. So we could go in and disable this control bar if we wanted to. Okay, let's add another button and rewind the video to the beginning. Let's say rewind. Let's add a workflow. So when button rewind is clicked, we want to rewind a audio video player. For this, you've got two options for the type of specifying where. You got seconds and you got percentage. I'm just going to say percentage and say 0% of the way through the video. Let's try it out. All right, we are playing. Let's pause, rewind, and play again. And we're back to the beginning. Nice and simple. Our next step, let's look at some floating videos or some picture-in-picture videos. So picture-in-picture being the floating video player that follows you around across your entire operating system on your computer, whereas the floating video stays in the window in the browser. So the floating video would be great for, if the user's scrolling and you want the video to stay in the corner of the screen while they're looking at the rest of the page. Whereas the picture-in-picture is if they've left the browser or gone to another tab or another window and you want the video to keep playing. Let's see how to set that up. I'm going to put another button in. I'll just copy and paste this one. And I'll put the label as Start Picture in Picture. Let's start with that. Okay, and we'll add a workflow. So when that button's clicked, we want to request picture-in-picture a audio-video player. And the element is, of course, this one here. Cool, let's preview it. Let's play, start picture-in-picture. I hope you can see this video. I've just thought my screen recording software may not include this video. I'm hoping you can see it. And then if we pause here, we can see the picture-in-picture video player is pausing and playing. So the controls still work even if the video is playing picture-in-picture. Cool. Let's adjust this button then a little bit so that the UX is a bit nicer for users. We want a way to stop picture-in-picture. So let's go to a conditional here, the conditional tab. And I'll say when audio video player A's is picture-in-picture is opened, I'll change the label to be stop picture-in-picture. So now when a video is playing in picture-in-picture, this button will change to say stop picture-in-picture. And let's add the corresponding workflow. Let's keep it on the same trigger, actually, the event. When the button is clicked, we'll add a second step. And we'll say close picture-in-picture a audio-video player. But we'll add a condition on this. We'll say this step, this action only happens if audio-video player A's is picture-in-picture is opened. Great. So now, if the user clicks the button, start picture-in-picture, it'll start the picture-in-picture. If they click it while it's already in picture-in-picture, it'll go to step 2 and it'll disable. It'll close the picture-in-picture. Alrighty, let's try this out. I'll press play. We'll start picture-in-picture. Again, I'm hoping you can see that. Then I'll press stop picture-in-picture, and seamlessly, without stopping, we're back in our video player element. Looking good. All right. Let's look at the related, but slightly different, floating video. So we'll add yet another button. We have a lot of buttons here. I'm sure with your app, you won't just have a row of blue buttons like this, but it's good for our demo. All right, so start floating video. Cool. And we'll actually change the condition while we're here, as we know what we're going to be doing. So we'll change this. Actually, let's clear this condition, this expression entirely. And we'll say when audio video player A's is floating is yes. So when it's already a floating video, we want to say stop floating video. All right, but we do need to set up the corresponding workflows for that to make sense. So with this button selected, we will say add a workflow. So when the button is clicked, we want to add an action, and we will say enable video floating a video audio player. Great. But we want to add a condition on this. We want to say we want this action to happen only when audio video player A's is floating is no. So when it's not floating, it'll enable the floating. Let's try that out. I'll press play. Actually, we'll use play with that button, of course. I'll start floating. And there we go. We can see it's in our browser window here. And we can, and the button's changed to stop floating. But we have no action yet for stop floating. So let's go back and add our second step. I'll say disable video floating a audio video player. But we do need to add a condition. Only when audio video player A's is floating is yes. So we have two conditions, is no and is yes. So this step will only happen when a video player is already in its floating mode. Let's test that out. Let's play. Let's start floating. And we'll go stop floating and we're back. And we can start picture in picture. And we can pause and play and rewind. Stop picture in picture, back to floating. Maybe rewind again and it starts again. Stop floating. So we've got all sorts of, we have full control over the video with all of our custom actions here. And we can also trigger how the floating behaves if we want to. We might have controls in our app to say float on the left or the right. So there's an action here for set floating style, a audio video player. And here we go. We can choose the horizontal position, the vertical position, the margins, the size of the player. All of that is in here. So we could make that part of our workflow if we wanted to have a default change of the style, or we could, enable or expose some buttons for the user to change the video size. We could have a button for large floating and small floating and, have corresponding widths and height. Lots of control, huge amount of control on this. It's great. Okay, I'm just going to group these two for now. Let's put them in a column and let's put just in gaps so that I feel a bit happier about it. Okay, so that's our video player side of things. Let's look at the recording side of things. So here in our elements, I will drag on the video recorder element. Let's make that a little bit bigger because that is quite small. Let's say 600 and 300 just so we have something to look at there. All right, I'm going to group this as well in a column because we're going to put some buttons under it as well. I'll put 16 pixels ready for those buttons, and I'll group these in a column as well just so we can put some space between them. Let's put 80 pixels between them. Okay, great. So we have our group for our video player, which we've looked at, and we have our group for our recorder, which we're going to look at now. So if we, we have an issue, let's see. Okay. We haven't looked at any of the properties yet for our video recorder. Let's check out what we got. So with that selected, we can see we can specify the maximum file size, if we're enabling file uploads, what the zoom is, if we're mirroring the camera and flipping it around, the aspect ratio, everything we need to make sure that the videos that the user is recording with their laptop camera, which we'll look at in a second, behaves and looks the way that we want it to look and behave. So I will say yes for this, and I'll just leave everything as it is for now. Actually, let's change that to yes. Why not? Now, let's hit preview and see what we end up with. I don't think we'll have anything just yet. Nope, we have a video player, but nothing for the recorder yet. So we need to put some buttons in this to start triggering some actions and workflows. I will drag our first button in. I'm going to call this one start. Let's say start camera. And this is what's going to kind of get this rolling and get this working. I'll add a workflow. And I will say, start camera a video recorder. So there's two steps to this. You need to start the camera, and that prompts the user's browser to give camera permissions and let it access the camera. And it turns on the camera. You see a little light in your webcam and or your device, and you'll start to see a preview of yourself on the screen. And then the second step will be recording a video recorder. So for now, we just want to start camera a video recorder. We only have one on the page, a video recorder A. Do we want microphone? I'll say no for that, but we can specify that. And let's hit preview and try it out. All right, I'll press start camera. There I am. Hello. That's working well. Okay, so we then need to put some second steps in. Let's put another button. Put a button here, group these in a row. Let's put a gap of 16 pixels in the column. All right, this one will say start recording. Excellent. Let's add our workflow, and I will say start recording a video recorder. We only have the one video recorder. We can specify the name if we want. We can put a maximum length and whether it's auto save to bubble and the quality. I'll leave them as defaults for now. Actually, it's worth us looking at the show documentation button here. So we can see for the auto save to bubble, if yes, the recorded video will be saved to bubble. If no, the recorded video will be downloaded locally. And if empty, the recorded video will not be saved, and we have to specify a save recording action to save it. Again, great flexibility. For now, let's press yes for this and see if we can get it to display in a video player on our app. And of course, we need a corresponding stop recording button. So I will copy and paste our start recording button. I will change the label to be stop recording. And if we wanted to, we could put a condition with the same button and, make sure that it says stop instead of start when it is recording. And that's, what you would do for best UX in your app. That's looking good. So let's try it out. I'll start the camera. There's me. Hello. I'll press start recording. And it should be recording right now. And we press stop recording. And it stopped recording. But we have no way of seeing that and seeing that it's happening. So let's go in and change that. Let's put some text in here. I will say live on air. Well, not really, but why not? Let's change this color to red. And I'll say this isn't visible on page load. And let's put a condition. Let's say when video recorder A is recording is yes, this element is visible. We'll do one more and say when video recorder A's recording is no, this element is not visible. Okay, so now we should have some feedback that something's happening in our app. Let's try it out. I'll start the camera. I'll press start recording. Now we have our text saying live on air or actually recording, and I'll press stop recording. We haven't put our workflow on stop recording yet. Let's do that first. So I'll go add workflow to this button, and I will say stop recording a video recorder, and that's video recorder A. That should do it for us. Okay, let's go back. Let's start camera. We'll press start recording. We have our indication that we are recording, and you might have a flashing red animation like a recording button, and then stop recording. The indicator, our live on air text has disappeared and our recording has stopped. So let's look at displaying that video. So when that stops, you have a bunch of options with that video file. Of course, you could save the video locally to your downloads, and we saw here that if we set this to no, that will automatically download without us doing anything. That's great. We see there's also an action for save record a video recorder. We could then, instead of that, we might save the video file into our database by making changes to a thing. You got all sorts of options here for working with the video file once it's recorded. What we're going to do for this demo though, I'm actually going to put another video player. So I'm going to drag on a second audio video player. We'll put our text live on air above it. That's better. And I will say this element is not visible on page load. I'm only going to have it show once the video is finished recording, and we're going to watch the video that we just recorded in this player. So that means the source for this video player will be video recorder A's video URL. So that'll be the URL pointing to the video file in Bubble that we record with our video recorder. Cool. Now this is hidden. I've set this to be hidden on page load. So when we press stop recording, let's add another step in our workflow to show an element. And we're going to show audio video player B, which is the one we just added. So once I press stop, it'll then show that video player, it'll load the URL, and we'll be able to watch the video. Let's try it out. Let's start the camera. There I am. I'll start recording. I'll give a bit of a wave here. I'll press stop recording. And that's shown our video player. We'll give it a second because it does take a moment to load. And there we are. I'll press play. And there's me waving. Cool. That's worked nicely. So we saw that there is a pause, there's a delay as it loads. So we would need to put in an indicator, maybe a loading indicator for a few seconds or until the video appears. And there's a lot more you can do to customize that workflow within your app for a production. Now, as you saw at the beginning, there's so much more that the plugin can do to make this super powerful with playlists and your database and integrating with third-party video providers and hosters and There's also the audio player and audio recorder, which functions the same way as the video that we just saw. Repeating groups and all sorts of advanced implementations. So we've looked at how to get this set up and started, but definitely check out the documentation and the demo app and the demo editor if you're wanting to look at more intricate and complex ways to implement this plugin. But that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions at all about anything we looked at or more advanced use cases, send us a message. We would love to help out. Happy building.